Why you do this? Understand yourself. Closeness can feel good at first. Warm, grounding, familiar. And then, without warning, something inside tightens. Your chest contracts. Your thoughts narrow. You feel the urge to pull back, go quiet, or create distance. Not because the connection is bad, but because it suddenly feels like too much. What confuses people most is the timing. The withdrawal doesn't happen during conflict. It happens during intimacy. When things feel real, when connection deepens, when safety should increase. That contradiction is the clue. You might notice it after a meaningful conversation, emotional closeness, or someone expressing care. Instead of feeling soothed, your body becomes alert. You feel watched, trapped, or internally crowded. The impulse to retreat feels urgent, even if nothing objectively wrong is happening. Later, you may feel guilt or confusion. You might wonder why you sabotage closeness or why you can't just relax into connection. But the reaction isn't random. It follows a nervous system pattern shaped by earlier experiences of intimacy. Closeness activates memory, not always conscious memory, but body memory. When intimacy once came with loss, control, emotional overwhelm, or obligation, your nervous system learned to associate closeness with danger rather than comfort. So when connection deepens now, your system doesn't register safety. It registers threat, not because of the person in front of you, but because of what closeness once required or cost you. For some people, intimacy meant responsibility for others' emotions. For others, it meant being consumed, controlled, or abandoned once attached. Love may have been unpredictable, conditional, or overwhelming. Those experiences taught your system a rule: distance equals safety, autonomy equals regulation. So when closeness increases, fear doesn't announce itself as fear. It shows up as withdrawal, numbness, or the need for space. When intimacy triggers threat, the nervous system shifts into self-protection. Heart rate changes, muscles brace, emotional access narrows. The urge to pull away is not a decision. It is a regulation strategy. Distance lowers arousal. It restores a sense of control. It gives your system room to breathe. This is why pulling away often brings relief, even if it creates confusion or pain afterward. From the inside, closeness can feel like loss of self. Too much input, too many expectations, too little space. When your system doesn't trust intimacy, it treats connection as something to manage rather than receive. Withdrawal simplifies the environment. Fewer signals, fewer demands, less vulnerability. What looks like avoidance is actually your body trying to stabilize itself as efficiently as possible. They often don't understand what's happening. From their perspective, closeness increased and you disappeared. They may assume rejection, disinterest, or emotional unavailability. But what they're seeing is a nervous system response, not a relational verdict. Their behavior is not actually about you. The pullback is not a judgment of their worth or desirability. It is your system responding to internal threat cues shaped long before this relationship existed. Inside you, the experience is different. You may feel pressure to perform closeness correctly. Fear of being needed too much. Fear of losing independence. Fear of being trapped in expectations you can't meet. Here's why you react the way you do. Your nervous system learned that proximity requires self-erasure or hyper-responsibility. Withdrawal became the fastest way to restore autonomy and emotional safety. When one nervous system moves toward connection and the other moves toward distance, a loop forms. The more closeness is offered, the more threat is activated. The more threat is activated, the more withdrawal occurs. Here's how the pattern forms between both of you. One system seeks reassurance through intimacy. The other seeks regulation through space. Without understanding, both feel unsafe, misunderstood, and alone. This dynamic often originates in early attachment environments. When closeness was inconsistent, intrusive, or emotionally costly, your system adapted by prioritizing self-containment. You learned to rely on yourself rather than connection for regulation. That adaptation worked then. It preserved autonomy and emotional survival. But in adult relationships, the same strategy creates distance where connection is needed, even when the present environment is safer than the past. Independence is not the same as nervous system safety. When autonomy is driven by fear of closeness rather than genuine preference, connection will always feel risky, no matter how healthy the relationship is. The pattern doesn't change by forcing closeness. Pressure confirms threat. It also doesn't change by disappearing completely. Avoidance reinforces fear. Change happens through pacing, choice, and nervous system awareness. When withdrawal is met with curiosity instead of criticism, your system receives new information. Safety increases when closeness becomes optional rather than obligatory. Regulation must come before vulnerability. Pulling away is not rejection. It is relief. Distance gives your nervous system space to downshift. When you understand this, shame decreases. And when shame decreases, the response softens naturally. Reframing withdrawal as protection rather than pathology allows you to work with your system instead of against it. Understanding replaces self-judgment, and understanding is regulating. As your system learns that closeness does not automatically mean loss, control, or overwhelm, the need for withdrawal lessens. This happens gradually, through repeated experiences of safe connection and respected boundaries. Transformation is not becoming endlessly available. It is learning that intimacy can coexist with autonomy. That connection does not require self-betrayal. That space and closeness do not have to be opposites. Relief comes when you stop interpreting your responses as failure. Your nervous system has been protecting you with the tools it had. When you listen instead of override, those tools become less extreme. You don't need to choose between connection and safety. With awareness, your system can learn that both are possible at the same time. Understanding why closeness triggers withdrawal gives you back choice. You can name what's happening instead of disappearing inside it. You can ask for space without shame. You can approach intimacy at a pace your system can tolerate. Nothing about this pattern means you are incapable of love. It means your nervous system learned to survive intimacy before it learned to trust it. You are not broken. You are protective. Does this feel familiar?